Wanted to post a quick correction and follow-up to a previous video of mine. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is Venom. And in my video number McClellan 2072, I talked about a translation error in the King James Version, where Nebuchadnezzar, after he looks into the fiery furnace, sees a fourth entity and says its form was like the Son of God, according to the King James Version. But the Aramaic is explicitly indefinite, and the word for God is explicitly plural. So it would more correctly be rendered a son of gods. And a content creator who goes by Debunking Dan posted this comment on the video. People will walk away from this video believing and professing that the Christophany understanding of Daniel 3 began with the KJV. You can't be ignorant of that. How are you okay with that? And this is a perfectly fair criticism. I was not thinking about the origins of this misinterpretation of this passage when I made the video, and my video could very easily mislead people into thinking I'm suggesting the King James Version is where this all started, and it is not. That translation is found in the English translations that precede the King James Version, that were based on the Hebrew and Aramaic manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible. Goes back to Wycliffe. There are actually different manuscripts with different readings within Wycliffe. Some say a son of God, some say the Son of God, some say an angel of God, and that's what we have in the Septuagint. This interpretation goes all the way back to 2nd and 3rd century Christian theologians who debated the identity of this figure, some saying it was Jesus, others saying it was just an angel. So that was an oversight on my part. I apologize for misleading in that video. I will do my best to ensure that I don't make that same kind of mistake again. And that brings up the follow-up. There was another comment on that video that asked if we could translate that phrase that Nebuchadnezzar says as an angel of God, like the Septuagint does. And I suggested kinda, but not really. And there are a couple of reasons for this. I think the reason some people want to translate it as angel is because down in verse 28, Nebuchadnezzar does refer to a malach, which is an Aramaic and a Hebrew word that means messenger and can refer to human or divine messengers. And when it refers to divine messengers, we have traditionally translated it as angel. And I suggest that it kind of shouldn't be translated that way because this is still the author of Daniel putting words into the mouth of a Babylonian king. And they're trying to represent this king as speaking from the perspective of a Babylonian. And when we translate angel, we are importing a whole conceptual package that is pretty unique to Judaism and Christianity. They didn't have angels the way we have historically thought about them in the nations surrounding ancient Israel and Judah and early Christianity. They had messengers, and those messengers usually were sent between one god and another god, but could also be sent between a god and a human. But a Babylonian king would imagine himself to be, if not divine, at least the main representative of the deity on earth. And so in that sense, they may have understood the nature and the role of this malach, this messenger, slightly differently from the way we understand the concept of angel. But that's just talking about verse 28. I don't think it would be appropriate to render angel in verse 25 because the text doesn't say angel. It says Bar Elohim, a son of gods. And so there I think it would be even less appropriate. And I also want to point out that the word malach in Hebrew and Aramaic is probably just best rendered messenger wherever we find it, because it is a reference not to an ontological category. It's not a class of being so much as it is a reference to a role that somebody is playing. Because Jacob even refers to the God of Israel themselves in Genesis 48 as a malach, as a messenger. So anyone can bring a message and be a malach, human or divine, in Hebrew and in Aramaic. And so if we're trying to be as accurate as we can be and as faithful to the source text as we can be, I would suggest leaving a son of gods or a deity or something like that in verse 25 and just rendering messenger in verse 28. But that's just my opinion.